Hello, everyone. Welcome to Telling Tales, to Symbaroum, to Wednesday night. It is all of these things and much, much less. As per usual, I'll give the very briefest of blurbs before the players arrive. Check below for a bunch of links, or what the kind of things you might expect. Things to flag other than that. Monday nights is our Call of Cthulhu game. Wednesdays is obviously Symbaroum, and very, very irregular Thursday nights, once a month or less, is the Yellow King. We'll also be running our next one-shots at the end of this month, Saturday the 28th of June. We're going to be running the Electric State. And I think the crew for that is Stephen and John and Steve and Justin. So if that excites you, then come along for it. Watch as we play Electric State. If you'd like to be involved in voting for our one-shots and various other things, you can get along to our Patreon, which has recently had a big revision, including things like polls and including things like live access to our text-based actual play of Death in Space, which has just kicked off on Discord. Not that anyone but us knows, because there's not enough there to kind of like ping it out and let people have a look yet. But yeah, that's about it. Probably, maybe. Yes. Let's start reeling people in. It's Chris. Look at him.
Hi.
Look at that human face. Yeah. Chris plays Steo. Why don't you tell me who Steo is? I'm tired of talking about Steo.
Steve was sort of somewhat trauma-struck military veteran who's been lisping around Ambria for a while, doing kind of guard duty and petty cop work, who's found himself in the center of quite the series of unusual occurrences and is now, I don't want to say the conscience of the group, but the pragmatic lump in your stomach that says maybe don't do the thing with the thing that might cause you to end up in jail.
Yeah, I think describing Steo as a pragmatic lump is a good starting point. And yeah, he's kind of the conscience, but he's sort of one kind of the conscious sometimes, and then other times he's like he's approaching a kind of like, look, let's just murder everyone and get out of here, sort of.
Or equally frustrating, let's all just move to the countryside and forget this whole thing even happened.
Yeah. Which obviously, as a GM, I'm thrilled that that's on the table. So there we go. Let's move on to Stephen. Why not? And again, I'm going to devolve a bunch of my intro work. Stephen, why don't you just tell us who Alindra is and what she's all about?
So, Alindra used to be a sort of trainee Templar until she was kicked out for reasons that are still somewhat mysterious, but seem to revolve around a cursed sword of some sort. But that's probably worked out for the best for her, because the Templars themselves have become something much worse in the meantime. So yeah, she's I think she tries to be good, I think, but she's a bit keener than the others to embrace the kind of like moral rubbiness of the world, and a bit keener than others to solve problems with swords.
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty fair description. Okay, let's wheel out John. John plays Sir Arindar, and in the tradition I established maybe 3 minutes ago, I'm going to ask John to describe Sir Arindar, and of course, Farron as well.
Arindar is the last known survivor of the almost extinct House of Dar / raised capital city street urchin / gentle-hearted softy who is gearing up for learning a very horrible lesson at some point in the narrative, and also the current companion of Farron, who is a meerkat that we rescued. And instead of just going, here's a meerkat, it's useful to the plot, Aaron went, I need to adopt that meerkat, and now it is mine. So Farron is a tame meerkat that was rescued from a warehouse and hasn't killed anyone yet.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for the opportunity to make Farron a more grim and gritty presence by having randomly savage someone else's beloved pet.
Or Anton.
Or Anton.
In a way, is Anton a beloved pet of Prios?
A beloved pet of Prios.
That feels like a theological debate
like
that we don't have time to get into.
Feels like a t-shirt is what it feels like. Okay, let's bring on our final player for the evening. Let's bring on Sam, and Sam can tell us all about Askarai.
Askarai is a changeling ranger, good at shooting people, a little bit between worlds, not quite a human, not quite an elf, not quite a barbarian, not quite an Ambrian, a bit in the middle, but probably on the Elindra end of the group's moral compass, I would say.
So you're saying that the most important thing to know about Askarai is that he's a centrist.
No, I would never say that.
Okay.
I would hate to be caught saying that.
Excellent. Well, there we go then. So to summarize where everyone is and what's going on, our heroes arrived not so long ago in the Ambrian capital city of Indaros in search of further clues to the location of the lost, forbidden city of Symbar in the forest of Davakar to the north. And they've got caught up in all kinds of scheming and activity, largely because they were nearby when an awful mystical ceremony was carried out that crushed the Cathedral of Martyrs, killing lots of people. And during the course of that, they managed to rescue the Sun Duchess, one of the royal family, who reeled them into the investigation surrounding it. And basically what you've been trying to do is determine who has been responsible for this mystical ceremony. And you followed various threads to do with the prisoner underneath, to do with the mysterious person inside the cathedral. But currently you're on one that the noble house of Viara is connected in some way. And you have discovered, last session in fact, that that's definitely true. Because it does seem like the ceremony itself was carried out on the Viara estate, which had the side effect of leaving the Viara estate a horribly corrupted wasteland full of death and abominations. You've dealt with a lot of that just based on surface area alone. And now I believe we left you after having found the ceremonial site and various other clues. You are now leaving the estate for the evening because you're all ticking time bombs of corruption while you remain here. So you've decided to leave, regroup with the kind of other individuals who are sort of trying to help the place out, maybe stay overnight and get rid of some of that corruption, and then maybe deal with the parts of the estate you haven't been to yet in the morning. I think that was the vague idea, although as Stephen quite rightly pointed out before the stream, we maybe didn't precisely say that in as many words, and it was more just, we need to leave right now. But you know what? Let's pick up with that. I'm assuming that you're probably not talking that much as you make your way off the estate, more concerned probably with getting off the estate as fast as possible. And I'm happy for you to do that. I'm happy for you to reach the southern, well, I don't think it's southern actually, I think it's eastern wall of the estate that you came in from. And for you to emerge out probably through that hole that the bull crashed through. And ahead of you on the kind of dark and dank, muddy earth surrounding this, you can see about probably a bit of a way away, probably about 100 meters or so away. There is someone has set a bonfire. It is as soon as you emerge from the estate, it weirdly gets darker. Because in the estate, as I said, there's this odd half light suffusing everything that actually keeps things more visible. But you have emerged into just countryside darkness now. There are stars. The moon is hidden behind clouds, and there's a bonfire about 100 meters away from you.
We're with Anton currently, aren't we?
Yes, you are with Anton. Yeah.
I have a mechanical / metaphysical question, which is that can you feel corruption?
I really thought you might say the love tonight.
I know that we can all feel that.
There's nothing specifically in the law that says you can, but I think within my headcanon, I think I've already established that there's a kind of I try and make it sound like I think radiation would feel if radiation was more conveniently dramatic than it actually is, because you can't feel radiation. But I think I described it as feeling like you're almost moving through air that's too thin and it's kind of almost sliding through you and permeating you and prickling on your skin. And I think that that's what corruption kind of feels like.
Yeah. So normally temporary corruption resets at the start of every scene, and that did not happen on the VR estate. And I presume that we were in some way aware that something wasn't right there.
Yeah.
So
I
guess,
were. And Anton was actively aware that this was if you were to stay here too long, you would become corrupted, and warned you against that. As you start to walk away from the broken wall behind you, you literally feel the corruption kind of sloughing off you. Let's compare it to something like if you got physically horribly muddy and dirty and were to step into a cool shower. That's kind of how it feels. The cool night air feels like it's cleansing something off your skin, even though there was nothing visible. Yeah, you can feel it moving away. I would also ask, because I know Chris's reception tonight is a bit wonky. Can everyone make sure? I'm going to move myself down to 480. If other people can do the same, that would be just great. And it introduces a weird color grading over my cam, and I have no idea why. But yeah, well, hopefully that'll make things better for Chris. Yes, does that answer your question?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So I guess it. And you don't this is not a thing that you have to answer now, but I guess I was kind of getting at whether or not we would get a feel as to whether that corruption would have cleared up or be clearing up instantaneously in a few minutes, in a few hours. And
the rules say basically as soon as the next scene hits, but obviously in terms of the physical
we're in a
reality
weird situation here.
Yeah, that would really happen, because it's a different situation is happening and now I feel 100% fine again. In my head, it takes a few minutes to wear down, and as you step away and take a fresh air, you feel something clearing inside you, and your lungs seem to be able to breathe easy again, stuff like that. I would say, assuming you're walking over to the bonfire, which I assume you are, by the time you've reached the bonfire, you can take all your temporary corruption away.
As we walk to the bonfire, Askra is going to ask Anton if were there people here before, Father? Is this where you came when you left?
They had not struck the fire yet, but they were probably closer to the walls. But I cannot imagine it is anyone but the people we sent here.
Okay, good.
Do you think it worth going ahead and finding out?
I think we should stay with them for the night. Most likely.
I think he meant he was basically checking if you thought that the bonfire could be someone else.
I think we should head over there, and if it's them, I think we should find out who they are, and if it's the people we think it is, probably stay with them. Some safety in numbers.
It maybe
I think
further
whoever it is, we
support
should
from Go ahead, Elindra. Sorry.
I was just going to say that whoever is at the bonfire, we should probably find out together.
Okay. As you get closer, it is very apparent that it is indeed the soldiers who you kind of enabled the escape of, and the group of young farmhands who you met on the way. They have indeed, they said that you told the soldiers to look out for them, and it is those two groups. They have set a watch. One of the soldiers is watching and gives like a cry out into the night, asking who you are. Because of course you can see them much better than they can see you, because they're right by a big fire.
Reasonably normal adventurers.
I think it's them. The Lieutenant Radask kind of strides forward and peers out, fire blind, and says, it is good to see you. We had resolved to strike out in the morning if we didn't hear anything from you, but we attempted to scout the edges but could not see anything of you.
I think a hearty breakfast and then striking into the place tomorrow is our plan as well.
Very well. Well, we have some food. We'll gladly share it.
Do you have any medics among your people?
Only the basics, sir. We have some herbal cures and some basic knowledge, but that is it. All of our all of the changes have gone.
It's good.
That is good to hear.
Over by one corner of the fire, there is also the two young servants and the goblin woman sat near each other, whispering to each other and kind of glancing around in worry. All the ones who you had found and released from the estate, as it were.
If anybody has a herbal cure and the skill to use it, I would be grateful.
Have you taken? Is this like more damage since?
Oh, that's a good
whoever
question.
last attended to you?
But the last tending still would have been today.
Yeah.
It's not about days; it's about incidences.
The rules as written are day.
I know what the rules is written.
Cool. That's fine. That's fine.
I don't remember,
it was
but
like
I think
per
we had
person.
capacity to try to heal stuff after the last time we took damage. We probably would have done so.
Yeah. Someone can try again tomorrow, but I wasn't saying you can't do it the next day. I was asking if anyone had tried at all. So
I thought each new person with Medicus could try. Is that right?
No, we skipped that because it became a thing where it was like, if everyone in the group gets Medicus, then I think I think we've formally kind of established it now as for each instance of new damage, one person with Medicus can try, and one person can try with some kind of mystical thing. And then I think we've had it so that as long as it doesn't get too repetitive, people can try on subsequent days as well, especially if they're different people.
Okay, cool.
I think that's the notion. But it is the same. Well, we'll just make them roll in the morning anyway. So you know what?
We've house ruled it to try to stop healing becoming boring and repetitive, and then devolved into a boring repetitive conversation about it.
You know what? Actually, Stephen, I will, if you're happy for one of them to attend to you. Otherwise, we'll just have to remember to do it in the morning, and I'm happy to do it now.
If you're happy for them to do it, Matt, then that's fine. Then if not, I'm equally happy to wait till the morning.
And it's a different person. I'll make a roll for them to see if one of the soldiers can help you out. They can. What is novice medicus with a herbal cure. Is that D6?
D6, I think, yeah.
I think it's D6 because D4 will probably be the basic one.
See if I can find it.
So yeah, so go for it with a D6, please, Stephen.
Okie dokie. That's a 2, which is not nothing.
It's not nothing. Would anyone else like attending to by this slightly competent soldier?
I think I'm actually grand. I don't think I took a hit.
Yeah,
Novice is
people didn't
D4, by the way.
but with herbal cure, it bumps to a D6, right?
Oh, I see.
Bumps to
Yeah.
the-
Yes. No. Yeah. That's me jumping the gun with the reading there.
I would, in fact, like a heal.
That succeeds. Give yourself a D6.
4. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. While Elindra and Aaron, sorry, Ascari, were you going to ask for one as well or anything?
I have Anton down as on 9 toughness. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but
It's because his toughness is 10, right?
yeah, so 1 off. But
I mean, it's a free
guess a
roll,
day
right,
is-
in that as well.
I mean, we're about to sleep.
About to
Yeah,
sleep,
the
right?
day's
And
rest
you
is-
gain 1
yeah.
overnight. Yeah, that's fine. Antom's probably more busy trying to check up on the soldiers and their corruption and stuff like that. And,
Yeah.
But while Arendar and Elindra are being attended to, Steo, Ascarai, anyone, is there any kind of like conversation you'd like to have with any of the NPCs or yourselves or anything?
We should probably go and talk to the survivors. See if we can get anything else out of them. In fact,
I'm happy for you to do so and happy to forward establish that there is no new information, like directly relevant information about stuff. You have got everything out of them just to...
Yeah, so what I'll go over and just ask is if any of you's been in the big house.
The goblin woman looks up and says, oh, I should remember her actual name because she did give it.
Gringa?
Gringa, that is her name. Gringa looks up at you and says, oh, yes, sir, a lot, an awful lot.
I kind of sit down awkwardly beside her, kind of sighing with the various aches and pains and go, we're going to have to go in there tomorrow, my dear. Would you tell me a little bit about what it's like inside? Just the basics.
Oh, yes, of course. She leans forward, grabs a stick from her side and starts to draw a little plan of it out in the mud in front of where she sat on like a little, like someone has got like a folded shirt and put it underneath her so that she's not on the like wet mud, which is quite an unusual gesture for like, not for an old woman, but for a goblin. Someone is being kinder than Ambrians normally would, and kind of draws it out. I won't go into a huge amount of detail on it because I'm aware that you might think that perhaps the residence has like a floor map that you're going to be exploring and stuff. I guess spoilers, it does not. So she just leads you through, like, I think I said that the little villa had 2 floors and then an attic space, right? Let's say the villa itself has 4 floors and attic space and basement. It's very big. She kind of like points out all the different rooms. It doesn't mean an awful lot to you because a lot of them are like, you know, that's the Countess's reading room, and that's there's not a lot of relevant abomination related in, but you feel like you can navigate around the villa with some confidence now.
I'll call Ascarai over and kind of, while the other 2 are busy, and just kind of point it out and maybe have some light tactical chat as well. But
yeah, maybe making a special note of like where the Count's kind of chambers are
Sure.
and his sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. She points out the rooms where they currently had guests staying as well. She says that most of the guests were in the little villa, apart from the strange fellow who was in the cottage. who you've already established may perhaps be Artel. She said that the only guest who would have been in the residence itself was Count Brigo, which makes sense. Who you think you have probably found the body of at the ceremonial site, right? With the
And I nabbed the sword of, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of all she can give you, really. But it's definitely helpful.
It's better than nothing. Might count for a bonus on a couple of rolls.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other kind of conversation we'll take? Because like we said, as Stephen quite rightly flagged, we didn't really come up with a really precise thing for what we were intending to do. So
I think at some point after she's been healed up, Alindra will kind of wander over to the rest of the group and kind of sit down and just say, I'm going to argue that time is of the essence and that we shouldn't wait until the morning and that we should go back in there now. You're going to argue that it's more important for us to get rest and recovery. And I think I'm going to be outnumbered. Is that about right?
This had occurred to me as I was being seen to, that, well, the corruption doesn't move particularly fast, but if we wait until the morning, we are more or less guaranteeing that any survivors in there will become corrupted.
I don't really want to go in the middle of the night and with injuries and all of that, but also I don't particularly want to go in when there's no hope of saving anybody else.
Sorry, if I can interject, just from a factual basis, I agree absolutely that the sooner you go in, the more likely you are to find survivors. I would flag that you were in there for less than 2 hours, and the 3 survivors here have been here for 2.5 full days. So, yes, you're definitely running more of a risk of people being corrupted, survivors being corrupted, the longer you leave it. But saying if we leave it overnight, they definitely will be. That's not entirely true. Otherwise, these 3 individuals would have been corrupted.
There is a time pressure, but maybe way less than we thought there would be.
I just wanted to establish that. I'm not arguing either way. I just want you to have
That's
facts.
a good point, Antom. I was all for running to their rescue, but I could do with a rest. Alindra, you're half my age, but I know a bad knock when I see one, and you've taken several today.
It's not been a good day.
Look, I think it's sage advice to rest and go in tomorrow. We've already done. We've got a fair number of survivors out. You can't be upset about that. If they had wanted a perfect record of survival, they wouldn't have been mucking around with ritual magic, and they would have sent an army in.
I will be honest, if we don't manage to pull Count Viara out of there unharmed, or Artel, I can live with myself.
I think the Count
controversially going.
I think the Count deserves whatever has happened to him, but I suppose if he is still not corrupted, that will make our job of finding Artel a lot easier, or at least understanding what this is and what happened here. I don't care what state he's in, but we're trying to get to the bottom of this.
I would rather have him as a witness, but if all we can have him is a corpse, then so be it.
I'm going to suggest this. My heart isn't entirely in it, but we've probably done enough to get paid for this. And we know roughly what we need to find out. Viara did it. They pulled the trigger.
I think if there's still a chance of apprehending Artel, then we need to go back in. I think it's probably unlikely that he's in there, but if he is, we need to apprehend him before he tries again or tries something else.
We absolutely have to try, and we have to know.
I mean, there is a middle way here. The lighting is not an issue because inside it's all the same. We could sleep for an hour, 2 hours, and then head in. At least a little bit of rest. Better than nothing.
I'm going in with the dawn. I think we should go with the dawn. The light will help our spirits, if nothing else.
Yeah, if we're waiting. If we're resting, let's rest. Go on, sounds good.
I'll kind of saunter over to one of the, probably one of the villagers who we'd left earlier, and go like, "How far is the nearest pint?"
Quite some ways, sir.
Oh, Prius's teats.
We could always ride in and try and find the wine cellars, Theo.
It's probably turned to porridge by now, Aaron.
I do not want to drink the wine on this estate.
No, that seems fair.
The nearest town is Viara, sir. It's a good few hours walk to the west.
It's not worth it. They'll be closed soon anyway. Well, thank you. Well, if you would have proffered me a barrel of ale, I would thank you even more, but this will have to do. Desperate times.
Yeah, I wish I had one, sir. Okay. With that, are we perhaps going to go to sleep? Fold our own activities into the watch already set by the soldiers and wait out the night by the bonfire?
Yes.
Okay. It is at least not cold because of the bonfire. And the mud is drying out rapidly near the bonfire. So if you sleep near there, then you have something of a relatively easy night's sleep, albeit not hugely comfortable, being as there's nothing to sleep on other than what you've brought with you. You wake to a cold, frosty morning. The bonfire is still going, but is much lower. You're probably all quite stiff from just sleeping on mud. And despite the bonfire, the side of you that was facing the bonfire is sweaty. The side that isn't is probably stiff and cold. So, not the most pleasant way to wake up. The soldiers and the farmhands are already up and are gazing at the dim, kind of like overcast landscape of the Viara estate nervously, but are preparing themselves. You see that the lieutenant has, whose name I keep forgetting, Radask, is involved in a slight dispute with one of his soldiers, trying to seemingly convince the man to give his bow over. He finally does so with a peremptory snapped order. And he takes the bow and hands it to the farmhands. You can see that the farmhands are now each holding one of the soldiers' bows, apart from one of them who is has a big stack of spears and forks and other kind of long implements that he's just kind of like carrying as a bundle. The soldiers are looking. There seems to be a varied reaction about the fact that their lieutenant just took their bows off them. But I mean, you could ask about it if you want, or maybe one of you feels you've already got the gist of why he's done this already. I don't know.
Deputized, yeah.
Yeah, but also specifically, like, if they're using a bow, they're not trying to run up close.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
most farmhands will know how to use a bow perfectly readily. So
I'll go up to the. I suppose I'll beckon us all up to the lieutenant or the lieutenant or whichever we're talking to, the king of the local guards, and just we think once we've had whatever breakfast we can get out of these packs, we're probably going to make a move in. Have you? Did you sleep at all, or were you planning all night?
No, we slept as well as we could, sir. We're ready. We're with you. We'll move on the villa with you, and these local lads and lasses, they'll help us out with some bows if needed.
So I think we'll be breaching the villa. If you want to follow in once we've secured it, and if we can get you to get the survivors to safety. Maybe the plans change when we get inside, but we'll see what happens.
The 3 you found on the estate, sir, they're staying here.
Good.
There's no need for them to go through that again.
Agreed.
I think we may have enough people that we can cover quite a lot of ground quite quickly in the villa, so long as we're all prepared to make noise if we need help. We can perhaps spread out and take the house floor by floor.
I recall yesterday something in there was already making noise, so I think battle will be joined quite early in the proceedings.
We'll be ready, sir.
Before we go in, I will give everyone not exactly like a motivational speech, but more sort of, bows stay at the back. If anyone feels unusual or starts to exhibit signs of anything, speak up and leave. No one will think anyone is a coward. We are all here to look after each other, and we are here to rescue anyone left alive in there.
Anton leans forward and kind of leans towards you, Arundar, and says, perhaps ask the local fellows to follow Askarai's lead.
Archers, if you follow the lead archer, he'll show you where to shoot.
Congratulations,
sighs loudly.
I'm incapable of not saying loose.
Sure.
I'll kind of nudge Anton and go, shouldn't you you ask for Priel's assistance on this one?
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. And Anton gives a short but impassioned prayer to Prios and moves along the line and blesses everyone with a gesture and a word. And as he does so, the clouds peel aside for a second, and the sun shines down on the filthy field around you. Anton, a practiced priest, he doesn't say anything, but he just gesture to the sky above as if, he's watching over us. It seems to have a significant effect.
Okay, I'm not getting any younger. Let's go.
Let's do this.
Okay. The group of you who are probably let's do a quick mental thing. I think there's probably between 15 and 20 of you all together now. and you march towards the edge of the fence. You go the same way in that you came out yesterday, through that gap that the bull crushed its way through. And as soon as you start stepping onto the VR estate, the same feeling washes over you, as though something is intruding in your own body that is unwelcome and damaging. The light kind of tilts. It is lighter in here than it was last night, so clearly some element of the sun is coming through this wash of ash and dust and corruption, but it's definitely a lot dimmer than it was outside in the field in the kind of early morning sun. You slowly and cautiously make your way up the central path towards that inner fence that surrounds the villa and its gardens. As you get closer to them, because they have, you kind of skirted around the edges of this place, you can see that the residence's garden is looked to have already been predictably withered and leafless when the wave of corruption emanated from the ceremonial circle. It is, after all, moving now into winter. It seems, however, that it will never blossom again. Bare bushes have blackened, the needles of the junipers have dropped to the ground, and the proud stone hawk of the fountain at the center of the topiary has lost its spread wings, crumbled to dust on the ground. You are faced with an elaborate... You can clamber over the like, I've called it a fencing, but I think it's actually like a hedge that surrounds it. Let me just double check the map and see what it looks like. No, it is a fence. The fence is climbable, though. It's not meant as like a defensive structure. It is more ornamental. Do we want to climb over that, or do we want to find our way to kind of the ornamental gate and let ourselves in? It's, I mean, actually, to be fair, the ornamental gate is at the end of the path you're on, so it's right in front of you.
I think we went through that gate last time.
No.
And then, did we not?
No.
I thought we went and then skirted around the inside of the fence.
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I can show you this now because you know what all the different locations are, right? So I could show you. When I get there. So you're at 4 there. And that's the... Oh, yes. No, you're completely right, Stephen. You're completely right. Yes, absolutely. You have been through it before. So, yes, you just go through that again.
We kind of sort of immediately veered off to one side.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. I'm full of shit. But now you can go along that trajectory through that sort of... It's not really a maze, but a slight warren of bushes and trees that will lead you further towards the estate. The front door to the estate is on the other side. To the villa is on the other side, but there's certainly back doors. Steo, there are back doors in this side that you can gain egress through because Gringa told you about them.
Yeah, I think I'll kind of go. The closest doors are the closest. They're also the rear of the property, and they're right. I'll gesture towards it over there. I think that's where we start. There's no point ringing the doorbell.
Agreed.
Okay. You move forward as a group, cautiously over the open ground or the semi-open ground. There's wrecked hedges and trees everywhere around you. And I would like, please, a vigilant roll from everyone at +3. Yep. Nope. Yep. So that's everyone but Arendar, basically. Pretty standard. All of you become aware of some kind of very significant rustling and maybe like a heavy breathing noise that's coming from a cluster of trees ahead of you between you and the villa itself.
Swords.
Yeah,
Swords.
maybe weapons.
Yeah. And just for anybody that didn't hear, just indicate
Yeah.
that we had kind of heard a noise.
So the soldiers are behind you a bit, but not far. They're like a few steps behind you, and you glance back towards them. They already have, you know, their blades out. A further step back, it looks like Radask has told them to stay, you know, at least maybe 10 meters behind the rest of the group. He signals to the farmhands, and they kind of like nervously kind of each, they're not aiming with it because you can't hold that for very long, but they each like kind of knock an arrow to their bows. Apart from the one carrying the bundled long weapons, who kind of like puts the bundle on the ground, picks up a spear and kind of hefts it and like holds it to like throw. And yeah, there is something moving in that cluster of trees that is very dark and very large.
What are the chances it's a survivor? Pretty slim. I should just call out, make a start. Does anyone want to try tactical?
Oh, you're cutting out there, Chris, I'm afraid. Do you want to maybe try with your cam off for the moment?
There's
Cool.
a chance that might be a survivor. Very unlikely.
Yeah.
Will I just shout out? We're going to have to kill them either way.
These trees. And be ready for whatever's in there. Spread out, try to surround it.
Okay.
So that you as the front line are kind of like edging out a little bit more and moving a bit forward. I'm assuming that Askarai is not moving forward though, and is trying to stay with like a good view.
Yeah, I might also kind of get somewhere relatively close to the archers. I guess everything's going to be sort of firing at distance.
Okay.
I might sort of suggest a sort of pincer-ish, where like the archers are facing it that way, then the melee people go round that way.
Okay. Well then, for everyone moving forwards, I would like a discreet roll, please, at +1. So from the melee people primarily. Nope.
That's a pass.
Nope.
How did Steo do?
Do not hire Steo for sneaky shit. That's a fail.
Okay. As you spread out a bit and start moving forward and attempt to like creep a bit closer to this small copse of partially collapsed trees, one of you who's failed, let's roll it up. That would be Steo. Steps into a pile of ash that is concealing a long, dry branch, and it snaps heavily underfoot. There is a loud, piercing, shrieking squeal from inside the trees, and something that used to probably be a prize-winning sow comes piling out of the trees, huge and dark of skin, with vast multi-pronged tusks dripping with a sickly orange fluid. Boiling around its feet are identical copies of itself, piglets. You can see a number of them they all seem corrupted in exactly the same way. And in fact, as you are watching, you can see one other shrieking small piglet half flopping out of the side of the sow, like budding off from it. like some kind of horrible fungus. Let's go to initiative, shall we? John, the initiatives. If we have the Sow at quick 13 and vigilant 9, please. And tell me when you're ready for the second.
Ready?
Okay, and the piglets are at quick 11 and vigilant 7. And as usual, just put NPCs at the end. We won't involve them in it, but I'll narrate for them.
Right. Just to check as a point of order, are we doing our usual initiative method, or are we trying the new initiative method?
Oh, yeah. What was that? The roll a die and add it.
Yeah.
So there is a secret behind the scenes spreadsheet where we can add a dice of our choice to everyone's quick score when calculating.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. All right? We talked about doing it. Let's do it. And because it's obviously the larger the die, the greater variance, right? I feel like no, go on.
I when I was testing it, I found a D6 to be plenty, but like
I was going to suggest a D6. I mean, D4 for I guess the safest thing would be to try a D4 and see how that feels, and then move to. I think the D6 is a good compromise because typically that's maybe about half of an average stat. So, like, yeah, let's go for a D6. Is that easy for you to quickly sort, John? That's the Steven spreadsheet, right?
Yeah, it'll take me a minute just to add stuff. But
yeah, no problem. We can vamp. That's fine. Yeah, this is part of the suggestion because obviously the main thing that happened last stream is that I whined a lot about the stat blocks in the book and how unchallenging they felt. And we've talked about some. Well, we talked last week about some changes to that, and there's a couple of things we're going to try this week. Number one is this amendments that Steven's kind of driven with the sheet he's built very nicely. And the second, which I haven't really mentioned to other people, but I did allude to last week, is I have bitten the bullet of kind of going. I said like to retool every fight is something I didn't particularly want to do because it's so time consuming to prep for a stream already and stuff like that. Well, I'm gonna go. I went for it, and I went for it in a very eyeball-y way to try and do it quickly. And one of the things I did, I remember last time I showed my sheet of like how many things to add to things to against how challenging it's meant to be, and basically I've just kind of doubled that. And then added some stuff that was very like, fuck it, that sounds right. Like there weren't piglets. There aren't piglets in the book, basically. I've added the piglets. So, because the main suggestion from people about how to make Symbaroum more challenging is just add more enemies. Just add more enemies. Add more chaff. Add more mobs, you know? Because then the crowd control, like, because the DPS crowd control is real, so overwhelm it a bit. We'll see. I don't think you're heading into a TPK at all. So, yeah.
I just, for the record, although my camera's off, when you mentioned that you were basically doubling it, I made the face like I just eaten a lemon. So just for
tasty, yummy lemon.
Ill-advised.
Right. We'll see. 42 says randomizing initiatives is worth a try. Yeah, we think so. Like keeping the stats as a base so you still tend towards it is a good idea. It's usually my favorite way to do for games to do initiatives is to base it on a stat, but also add a randomized element. Okay. So here we go. Can we correct the spelling of Ascarai? But other than that, lovely. Lovely. And just for my own satisfaction, can we call them piglets, not piglet? I don't want to think about Piglet from Winnie the Pooh as an abomination. You know, this is interesting because I'm not sure how different this is, but that's probably a fairly good, decent sign.
Yeah, this one's come out quite similar in that
It is. I suspect
Anton's in
Aaron
front of
Dar.
Theo and Ferren's moved up.
Ferren's faster than he would be, but I think Aaron Dar probably would have been ahead of the Sow otherwise.
Much further back than I should have been.
Yeah. We can remove Revelia as well. She's not here.
Oh yeah, she's just on the list so that I don't have to.
Yeah. No,
remembering her.
It's fine. I'm not criticizing you. I am merely acting as a corrective element. Cool. Well, good to see that Ascarai still starts. So let's see what you got.
I mean, I slightly hate to do it, but I'm going to shoot the big pig.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be silly to do anything else. I think. I mean, in character, I'll kind of suggest to all the other people with bows to loose, not fire. Absolutely.
Or shoot.
Or shoot.
Yep.
But I will loose at the sow. I think I'm going to take an armor piercing shot. That seems to be.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
I don't know if that's correct or not, but that's what I'm going to do. What is it?
I'm ready with my cross out the monster.
What's the difficulty?
+1. It's big and it's fast, but it's
okay.
Is a big old pig.
I will Hunter's Instinct it as well, being a second chance. I roll a 10, which hits, and the damage is 7, ignoring armor.
That's better. It's more modest. It's like a lot of it is that like you have tremendous good luck, and like every time you roll, it's like 16, and whatever, and it's like okay, no, okay, your arrow just vanishes into that pig. You because it's so like its skin is so kind of black, and the light is so dim. You're not even you're sure you hit it because it gives like horrible squealing noise, but you don't even know where the arrow went. It just sunk into that mass of muscle and fat. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. So there we go. And not a pain threshold for once. Oh, that feels so good. And that's not due to any changes we made, really. But yeah. Ferren. Oh, what you doing with are you doing anything with your movement action?
Probably not. I'm just gonna stay where I am.
Shout for the farmhands to fill it full of arrows. Yeah.
Loosing.
It's fine. It's fine. I think in fact the notion of it always being loose is actually slightly not true now. Like there may be more complexity to it. I know that fire is completely wrong.
Yes,
that makes sense.
Because fire only started with gunpowder.
But why not shoot?
I don't know. Maybe it's right. Maybe you're right.
I choose this moment to imagine that in like Ambrian culture, the word is twang.
Okay. Well, I'm never going to mention that again for fear of it becoming an in-joke.
Reasonable.
Sorry, I just saw a lovely comment and I had to flag it for later. So, Ferren. What's Ferren doing? I guess you're probably delaying.
I do normally delay Ferren, but it does make it sort of ruins the point of rolling the initiative.
No, it doesn't. Not at all.
All right. I'm delaying Ferren until after my turn then.
No, it's fine. Okay. Well then, next we've got Alindra.
Yeah, Lindra. So I guess she's in the position to step in and engage the big old sow.
Yeah, to kind of try and get in the way. It's hammering with all its speed towards Steo. But you can definitely run and try and intercept it.
Let's do that. Yeah, so let's try to intercept, get an attack.
Its tusks are long.
Damn it.
So,
okay, just get a one perfectly ordinary attack.
So that's a +1.
Cool. That is a hit. And we are doing, what are we doing? We're doing that for damage. I'm sorry, Matt, that's 15.
Yeah, but it's not armor piercing, is it?
It is not armor piercing. I am a couple of XP off that.
So that is that. Oh God, yeah.
That's next in your life, I'm afraid.
So you meet the charge of the sow and cleave through its side hugely, essentially kind of like slicing off a huge roll of blubber and muscle that flaps around horribly and sends blackened ichor spraying over you and the ground around it. It gives a horrific noise that almost deafens you, and then it gets its attack. So there we go. Yeah. So it's definitely going to hit you now that you've hit it. So
certainly made choices.
Absolutely. Give me a defense roll at -5, please.
I'm feeling less confident about this now. I've told you that I'm a couple of XP off going through armor as well.
Yeah.
That is a failed defense roll.
Okay.
Spend the XP. I'm so close. No,
well,
it's fine.
Then.
It's fine.
Oh, please don't have me get one hit on you and then go, no, I'll cancel that out with XP. Nothing but a perfect fight for this group. Give me an armor roll.
Right. So like, what we got? This one there was D10. 7.
Okay. That's good. So we're going to have the following. A few things here. First of all, the tusk kind of, the branching tusk gouges into your side and you can feel your armor take the brunt of it, but also a ragged pain opens up along your side where it kind of half pierces through your chainmail and rakes across your side. Take 3 toughness. And then, if you could roll cunning at a minus... Oh, no, hang on. No, that's not true. Roll strong, flat strong test, please.
Oh, oof, I needed a 15 and I got 15.
Okay. Then I won't talk about what that could have been, but I will say that you feel an awful, sickening sensation spread from your side, and kind of you feel your flesh there quivering and jumping in an unpleasantly animated fashion. And I would like you to roll a d6, please.
That's a 3.
Okay, take 3 temporary corruption.
Through gritted teeth and pain, Alindra will mutter advice to anybody in earshot. Don't get bored. It's really unpleasant.
Okay, Arindar, your turn. I would say the piglets are running out towards the soldiers as well, maybe even a couple towards the farmhands. There are 3 of them running. We're going to do that thing where we just kind of put a narrative line between the NPC's fight and your fight. There are 3 piglets that your group has to deal with as well.
Okay. I'm going to target 1 or possibly 2 of the piglets.
You can't engage 2 individuals with 1 movement.
I will engage 1 of the piglets.
Unless they're right together, which they're not. Okay. Yeah, you can strike out for the piglets. They're at +3.
+3?
easy, fat little targets.
They're just incredibly adorable.
That's very definitely a hit and 11 damage.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Okay. That is not past their pain threshold, though.
Oh, no.
But you manage to get... they have armor, so, you know. You manage to get in the way of one of them. It rounds on you, making a far less deafening version of its mother's question mark. Horrible squeal. And you manage to skewer it and feel an unpleasant kind of like wriggling on the end of your blade, as if like not only is the piglet as a whole moving, but something inside it is moving as well. Yeah, you've definitely wounded it. It's unhappy, making a horrible squealing, wailing noise, but it's not dead.
Good. And with that done, Farron is going to jump on it from behind.
Okay. The piglets are normal. What's the term?
Flanking?
Yeah, normal flanking. So Farron will attack at a +5.
Oh. So that is 16, which is a success.
And don't forget a +d4 for damage for flanking.
So that's a d8 plus a d4. 5 plus 4, 9. And if that goes over the armor threshold, he also applies poison.
I don't think I'm going to let him.
That's fair. That is justified.
In case you were wondering what the strong roll that things that do poison, I don't let get poisoned.
That's accurate.
That's how nature works, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the damage again? Did you say
9?
9 in total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Farron jumps on the little beast from behind and kind of savages it, and he sinks his kind of claws into it, sinks his teeth into its hindquarters, and rips and tears, and then leaps back and immediately kind of like sprays out the taste of it on the ground, but is still ready to kind of like pounce again. Unsurprisingly, they don't taste good. Okay, let's go with the two other piglets your group is dealing with. And I think these aren't tactical piglets, you know? They're not like Miltech piglets. So I think they're going to resort to just kind of running at nearby things. That's really Tickle John. I think one of them is going to run for Steo, and one of them is going to run for Alindra because, you know, they're, again, mother question mark is in pain. And I'm just going to leave it there. Stephen stepped away for a moment, so let's go with Chris. Chris, they do not have long tusks, so you'll absolutely get a first shot at it. So give me an attack at +3. I assume that Chris is still here. I think
Action for a second because my connection is very unstable.
No problem.
And I want to refresh the page.
No worries. No worries. Okay.
Do you want to do mine then?
No, because it's not you. It's Alindra.
Okay.
So
maybe if everyone
remember I
just
say
stayed
because
up
it's
the
its
pool.
mother. Remember I said because it's mother.
Yeah, but because Steven stepped away and Chris had stepped away.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if you wanted to do the third one.
Oh
first.
yeah, the one. There is one fighting you. Yeah. Sure. Why? So you can kill it with your counterattack. That's what you
probably.
want, isn't it? Chris, how's your connection doing? Maybe not good.
You are muted if you're talking to us.
Oh, there's a spot. It's probably not good because he would have written in backstage otherwise. Let's put Chris to one side for the moment, and sure, Aaron, let's go with you. That pig is going to attack you at a -3.
Okay, target of 12. get 12 exactly. So that's
Okay.
pass.
Okay, then you get your attack, right?
Yep.
And that attack's going to be a +3. +5, because it's flanked.
+5. So as long as I don't roll a 20, which I didn't, and I also rolled only 7 damage.
Only 7 damage. That is enough, though. That is just about enough. You skewer the piglet on the end of your blade again, and it screams and tips over to the side. You give it another stab for good measure, opening its belly, from which spill forth about 10 tiny, distorted, wriggling, smaller piglet creatures. Yeah, those are the faces I live for. Love it. Okay. Chris says, yeah, working 100% fine, so you need to do something.
I should be back.
You're back. You're back. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. You get a long attack on a piglet if you want one, and who wouldn't?
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, so that's an attack at a +3.
That's a success with a 6. That was my reaction, so I will choose to disengage them. But I will give them.
Do you want to do a damage roll first?
Yes, that'll be 5 damage.
Okay. Your spear kind of almost, it doesn't glance off their side, but it kind of skims off it. You know, they've got this thick mass of fat and muscle around them. But yeah, it kind of like, you know, it's just had a spear thrust in its face, and it kind of gives a wriggle and a scream and does kind of like run in a little circle, kind of rather than run up to you and attack you. So yeah, disengaged successfully.
So I can either re-engage and continue the loop, or I can see what else is available to attack.
You can on your turn. It's not your turn yet.
Of course, sorry, but I've still got to wait for that.
Yeah. This is the piglet attack.
Priest, turbulent. Will no one spare me from that turbulent priest?
Absolutely. Elindra, you have a piglet defense in front of you, and you're flanked, right, by this piglet. So
because I've already engaged with the sow.
Yep. So could you defend at -5, please?
Do I get a long attack on the piglet as it comes into range?
Oh, that is a question, isn't it?
Yes, because
I mean, I think you do. Yeah, it still feels odd to me with that long always procs. I feel like situationally, but that is not the rule. That is not the rule. So yeah, get your attack at +3.
Oh, that's a hit. That's 12 damage.
Okay. That minuses to that. God, my mental arithmetic's poor today. That is not pain threshold material, though. Wow, so it does still get an attack. But yeah, your sword arcs through the air and slices into the neck of the thing. But I'm going to say that, in fact, no blood comes out, but instead another tiny wriggling semi-fetal piglet thing writhes its way out and flops onto the floor. But it's still good to go, so you're going to have to roll a defense at -5, please.
That's a fail.
Okay.
Armor?
In that case, armor, please. Yes.
It's a 9.
9. Okay. The tusks impact on the greaves of your leg, but do not manage to penetrate, which is a good thing. I'm going to double check something so you can talk amongst yourselves about my horrible imagery until I get the answer I'm looking for.
I could have done without recursive piglets tonight.
Yes. I was double checking. I knew that poison doesn't proc unless you take damage. I wanted to make sure that corrupting attack doesn't proc unless you take damage, which it doesn't, which is what I expected. So you are spared that as well. We've got Anton as usual. Let's have Sam make the choices for him. There is currently a big wounded sow and a little wounded piglet on Elindra, and an unengaged piglet looking quite frustrated a meter or so away from Steo.
I think before this fight even started, I have messed up by not saying I was going to cast Blessed Shield. But
well, you can do it now then, can't you?
I think now Holy Aura is the one to go for.
Could be.
It's Holy Aura time, I think, which requires a resolute roll. So it's far from guaranteed, but I will try to cast Holy Aura for Anton.
Mm-hmm. Holy Aura could be a bugging killer in this circumstance for sure.
Yeah. I rolled a 9, which makes it.
Okay, can you describe his Holy Aura? I think he's got an adept, right?
Yes, he does. It's harmful to abominations and undead within sight. The target suffers 1d8 of damage, ignoring armor. Lasts until fail a resolute test or break concentration. Can exclude allied abominations. I think it also heals. Requires. Heal, yeah. Okay, living creatures heal 1d4 of toughness per turn.
Okay, so for a start, anyone who has any damage can roll a d4 and have toughness recovery there. I remind everyone there's a reason we don't use this all the time. Is because it's ludicrously overpowered. But it is I think we have an informal agreement with Mike that he uses it when it would be damaging. So he uses it when you're fighting abominations and undead, and probably multiple of them, but not like just spamming it to heal. Because
it's the best cutlery. He saves it for his special occasions.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. So yeah, have that healing for everyone. How did everyone do on that?
I got 1.
Of course you did.
I also rolled 1.
Nice. Okay, well, on the other hand, let's keep the suspense most at the end. So let's have the piglet that's been driven off by Steo. Sam, do you want to give is it D8 roll, did you say, for that?
Yep, a D8, which is 3. Ignoring armor. Okay,
Steo, you feel a warmth roll over your back, and the dim, ashen light of the Viara estate briefly brightens. The skin of the piglet in front of you starts faintly to kind of simmer and sear, and honestly, a really horrible smell washes over you. Let's have another D8 roll, please, for the piglet engaging Elindra.
Okay. This is a 7.
Okay. And I would like, just because it might be fun to do the narrative together, a 1 roll for the sow as well, please.
Okay. For the sow, another 7.
Elindra, again, you are standing closer to Anton. And you feel that it literally feels as if you're standing and the sun has risen behind you. Like, not as in right behind you, like, you know, the morning sun has risen at your back. You see the light and you feel the heat, and the sow and the piglet in front of you start to melt. Fat and muscle sloughing off the bone into a sticky mass of black flesh and orange fluids in front of you. The smell is overpoweringly awful, and the sow is giving a constant, horrible squealing, wailing noise, even as its face slides off and melts into the ground. If you want a comparative visual, and this will only mean something to people of a certain age, in my head, I have a much grosser and more vile version of Spike at the end of Gremlins. Stripe, not Spike, at the end of Gremlins. I hope that means something to someone other than me.
I thought you were going to say Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I was waiting for Raiders as well.
Nah, because they have an explodey quality to them as well, don't they? But the special effect of Stripe at the end of Gremlins melting is still fucking amazing and
I don't remember
horrible.
it.
Nightmare fuel.
You all need to watch Gremlins more, all right?
We can't. It's a Christmas movie. It's the middle of June.
Sure.
There's no rules.
It's Christmas somewhere in the world. Fundamentally,
time zones.
Time zones. That's how time zones work. It's Christmas in Australia. Yeah. Let's cut to that's Antom's combat thing. I don't think he'll do any movement. Steo, do you want to try and spear this final piglet?
I think this is the last surviving creature, so I'll give it a go.
Yeah, so that's an attack at +3, please. And that's just your first long
this is
attack as well.
Yeah, this is my long attack. That's a success. Damage is 8.
Okay. Do you want to do your second attack and then I'll narrate the total results?
Second is a miss, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, you jab into the piglet once and it gives a nasty squealing noise and wriggles around, and part of its face just kind of falls off and slops onto the floor as Antom's holy power washes over it. You know what? I'm going to say the soldiers have dealt with their piglets. One soldier is kind of like clutching at their groin and their thigh, and a great deal of blood is coming out, but it seems to be being staunched by one of their fellows. The farmhands are just looking kind of mildly shell-shocked a few meters away from 3 piglets that are like riddled with arrows, and one of them is like pinned to the ground with like a spear that was thrown. So they've all dealt with the things that ran at them for the most part. And I'm happy for the group of you to just surround that piglet and do some get some killing floor action going on it, you know.
Grim.
Oh, don't worry about the name. It's more of a sluice. Gremlins and Simpsons. Look, all I'm saying is if you're not Gen X, you're not welcome here. That's a lie, of course. Millennials are fine too.
The older ones.
Yeah. Fairly soon there is nothing left of the pig creatures other than the smell that is left horribly in your nostrils.
I have no urge to loot the bodies. And in fact, I think we should
There aren't any bodies.
leave. Just dig through the puddles. Yeah, no.
Okay, I guess we go a little carefully then. This place still has some surprises.
This just shows my great gross out horror instincts. The tiny piglets inside, the piglets budding off the pig, the littler piglets inside the piglets, and them like all just melting and sloughing off. All made up on the spot. On the one hand, wow, what great horror instincts Matt has. On the other hand, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah, maybe get some help. Affectionately seek professional assistance.
I get it. This is what comes of running Yellow King on the channel. All my horror instincts are getting more honed to a fine edge, just from all those hours spent writing stuff in a spreadsheet and going, oh, they'll hate this.
What if the pigs were recursive? Right. So is it Lindra? Same as yesterday, right? We keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
Keep moving.
Carefully.
Let's try and get upwind of this.
Yeah.
Are you all right, Elinder?
I did not like those tusks.
If you do look at the rent in your side, you can see that the flesh around it has turned an odd shade of slightly scaled purple.
I think that was somehow spreading corruption.
Do you need to return to the bonfire?
I think I'm okay. I need to not encounter any more pigs like that.
I just realized this has become Dark Souls. I'm going to say that Anton. So you logged the temporary corruption for Anton's use of holy aura, right?
Yeah, so I think it's just one.
It's just one because he's got Theurg, whatever it is, master or adept or something. I'm going to say that Anton will also lay on hands on Alindra.
Okay, yeah.
If he does succeed at the roll.
Let me try.
Yeah, so I
was
did
a
a
6.
recovery. Oh,
Nice.
It does make it.
Cool. What's the healing roll? Damage roll. Surprise! Anton's a sleeper
damage.
agent.
It's 1d6.
Okay.
Which...
1 then.
4. A big 4.
Big
Thank
4.
you.
That's the best heal you've had in a while.
It is. As a housekeeping thing, Elindra's got that recovery skill. She tends to use it in the mornings when she wakes up, so I'd already got 2 toughness back from that.
And that was your first roll for the day as well, Steel, right? So you have not procced elderly, I believe.
Actually, my first roll of the day was around the campfire, if memory serves. No, it was the approach roll.
Oh, the vigilant roll,
yes.
which you succeeded with, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. You as a group, the injured soldier is being escorted back towards the bonfire, or the remnants of the bonfire, by one of the other soldiers, kind of like helping them along as they're limping. It looks like it's very easy to be injured in that area and for it to be done, for it to be over. It looks like, at least for now, they've been lucky. And they make their way back. Q-Mac going on a big speech about probably the most common place to get wounded and killed on a medieval or ancient battlefield. But I won't for now. Sorry, I'm checking out my cat because he's having a very wobbly day. He is old with a knackered hip, and he is very wobbly, and I'm just seeing he's okay. You make your way closer as a group towards the rear of the villa. Can everyone roll vigilant, please?
That's a pass.
That's a 1.
Nice. Pass for Askren.
Field.
Okay. Well, everyone but Steo is fairly sure that you can't hear or see anything particularly untowards about the villa externally, or from what you can tell from out here internally.
I don't know if we'd be able to remember or compare it in this way, but the pig sound, how comparable was that to the strange sound we heard from the villa's direction yesterday?
You are hovering somewhere between 90 and 100% sure that was the noise you heard. I described it as a piercing squeal. So, yeah.
Okay.
It all seems clear then. Steo, where do you suggest we make entry?
I'll take the fanciest looking back door, I suppose.
Okay. You make your way into the villa. I will describe it as a whole, okay? Just to speed us up a bit here, and I know that's maybe not ratcheting up the tension. It is very lush, very luxurious, very well appointed. There is a lot of furniture. There are a lot of obvious valuables. There is very little sign of anyone moving around in here since the ceremony. There's no sign of any conflict. a couple of the doors and the windows are hanging open. And at one point, you find some muddy footprints on the ground. But you don't, as you spread out through the villa. I'm going to just take it. Steo's doing it a bit blind because of the vigilant roll. None of you get any sense that anything is lurking here. And fairly soon, as you move through this large house, after 10, 20 minutes or so, you're fairly sure about it. You also see no sign and hear no sign of any survivors. It doesn't really seem like many people at all have been in here since the conflict. You find a number of interesting rooms. You find a library. You find what is undoubtedly the Count and Countess's private chambers, the richest rooms in the house with a grand bed, many valuable things stacked on, chests of drawers and so on and so forth. The soldiers, particularly the lieutenant, are sticking quite close to the farmhands and making sure that none of them grab anything, essentially. No one is particularly trying to. It all still has this veneer of horrible ash and corruption around it that is really not putting anyone probably in the mood to loot. Also, looting from your liege count while the person wearing that count's badge is next to you with a sword is not entirely the thing to do. If everyone can have a roll of vigilance, please, again, and I will give you, something that you find in this villa. How about that?
Well, I succeeded.
Did anyone not succeed?
I failed by 2.
Okay.
And Tom failed.
Okay. Right. Let's go round randomly then. Okay, let's start with Askarai. Askarai, while you're moving through what is the kind of grand hall of the villa, you see that the front doors are open, and on the steps leading up the front door is a blight-born human, heavily corrupted, but also mauled to death, wearing an army coat with the crest of House Brigo on it. Let's go for someone else next. Elindra, you find yourself in what seems to be a kind of study. It has various things. It has a table with a map unfurled on it, a map of Ambria. Nothing is marked on it. It's there pinned to the table. Someone has obviously been using it recently. In the corner is a cabinet that has been kind of quite strongly secured shut. It has like a sort of padlock lock on it. And finally for Steo, let's go with you find a door in the house that is secured with a number of locks. It does not seem to have been recently disturbed. It's quite a heavy door, a mixture of metal and wood. Let's hop to Elindra for a second and say, is anyone doing anything with any of these things?
I think Elindra wants to get into that cabinet. This feels like a place where people make plans,
sure,
keep secrets. I mean, she's not like a master thief. There's not really any. There's not like
you could almost. I mean, you could certainly roll to see if you could just smash the lock off it. You don't think it looks colossally robust.
Yeah. If no other better idea occurs to her and none occurs to me, then let's go for some violence.
Okay. Just give me a strong roll, and you can make it at like, I don't know, +2.
She needed a 17, got a 2.
Okay. Now I'm doing this because I don't want the chicken in the cage here. Can you roll a D100 for me, please, Stephen?
Sure. 74.
Okay. You find inside it, on a small stand, a silver crown with a chainmail curtain all the way around it. It would totally obscure the view of anyone wearing it. It looks
Like a
valuable.
veil.
Yes, but all the way around. It looks very valuable. It looks like it's pure silver to you.
Is anybody in this room with me when I make this discovery?
Well, you said you were splitting up. So is there anyone in particular you would want to be in the room with you when you make this discovery?
I don't want to be there with any of the Viara soldiers or the farmhands, essentially.
I mean, if you split up intentionally, then I imagine, then yeah, I'm happy for you to do that.
Just to purloin this thing.
Okay, yeah, sure. It's not huge. You have probably some kind of container on you, like I don't know. Or do you? Would you? Maybe you wouldn't. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, yeah, okay. So it's dependent on her ability to like hide it somewhere.
Sure, you can probably. You know what? You can probably take off or remove a section of your tab. Actually, there's plenty of material around. You could remove a section of curtain, bundle it up in it, and like hang it off your belt or something, and it wouldn't, it wouldn't be incredibly stealthy, but people certainly wouldn't be able to see what it was.
Yeah, unless somebody was like, "Hey, you didn't have that pouch earlier."
Yeah, you doubt they'd bother.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's gonna do that.
Okay. Ascarai, Steo, any further interactions from you?
Ascarai's gonna search this guard, one of the few people we found in the house. Seems worth searching.
Sure, give me a vigilant roll.
Okay. That is a pass. Rolled a 7.
Okay. You find nothing on this individual worth remarking on other than a pouch which has Ambrian coin in it that is worth together 1 Orteg. Sorry, one Thala. Orteg is the small one. 1 Thala. So, just someone carrying around a bit of loose change. A fair amount of loose change. That's it.
Okay. I still won't take it.
How about you, Chris?
I would like to listen to this door for a minute.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to make you roll vigilant. There is no sound behind it whatsoever.
And, did the Goblin Lady kind of mention this place in her description the other day?
That's actually a really good question. She absolutely would have mentioned this. This is the Viara vault.
Okay, well, I am,
or at least the local vault.
I am not bold enough to attempt to initiate a heist here, so I'm just going to acknowledge it and return to the others.
Okay. After searching the house, you all meet up, maybe in the Great Hall. And I would like, at this point, everyone, please, to make a strong test.
Anton passes with a 1. But that's great fails.
I fail.
I also fail.
Sorry, what was Alindra's result? Pass, I assume, probably.
Also got a 1, yeah.
Okay. Everyone who fails, take 1d4 temporary corruption, please.
Do Chris and I still do that?
No, sorry. Yes, Chris and John do not. I keep forgetting that. So it's just Ascarai who takes the d4 then. Okay.
That was a 3.
The farm hands look kind of like, I guess, like still spooked out because, of the environment and everything like that, but also kind of like calmer because nothing's leapt out at them since the huge sow. The soldiers kind of look wary, and Radask kind of like steps up and says, we haven't found anything. No sign of the Count. Nothing.
That's worrying in and of itself.
Yep.
Is there anywhere else in the grounds that someone could be? The list, like the places we have been. Like, is there anywhere further into the woods or?
No, that's everywhere.
Then it seems as if
that's great.
is not here.
Ascar, you saw those footprints earlier, did you?
Don't think so.
I think
I specifically said that it was pointless searching for footprints anywhere on the estate because
I must have
falling ash.
No, it was inside the house. You said there was a set of muddy footprints. Is that a caged chicken?
Oh yeah, it's literally just a pair of muddy footprints near one of the doorways. Like there's no, they can't be tracked. Not out of the house. It was just a touch of flavor before we start going down that. So yes, it was a chicken in the cage.
I guess in the absence of anything else, we should declare a cautious victory and get the hell out of here.
I cannot think of anything else we can do on this estate. The only assumption I can make is that Lord Viara and his guest in the cottage have made their way from the estate somehow.
I won't lie, gentlemen, sir. I think we'd be happy to leave and report back to the garrison on this. If you say there was no sign of my lord here, I'll believe you.
Yeah, we can report on Count Brago, but nothing more than that.
It's my intention to deliver his sword to the Countess when we return to Yindaros. That at least should be evidence of our labor here, if nothing else.
I wonder if, before we go, if it could be worth locating the Duke's study to see if he has kept any records about anything he may have been doing here.
Elindra, you were definitely in the Duke's study. There was a lot of kind of like, scrolls and tomes and stuff in there. You didn't see anything that looked particularly like something the Count or someone else would have used to write things down or note things. Obviously, there could be something more secreted, but the question is, do you want to spend the time it would take to comprehensively search the study? You can if you want.
I think Elindra's because she was in there looking for secrets rather than treasure, and didn't find secrets. I think she will relay that back to people and say, I was in his study. There was all kinds of papers in there, but nothing that looked like it related to what we're investigating. I think wherever he keeps his secrets, possibly just inside his own head, he doesn't keep them in there.
We should strike out then.
The soldiers in the farmhands. The soldiers in the farmhands seem very happy to hear that. And I take it is there no dissent from the group?
No.
Okay.
No.
You start making your way towards the edge of the estate. You don't encounter anything else on the way that you haven't already encountered on your way here. Again, as soon as you step outside the bounds of the wall, you start to feel the corruption seeping away from you. Those of you who've suffered any. And very soon you're at the bonfire. The wounded soldier is there and holding up, although quite pale. The other two, the three survivors are still there as well. Obviously, a relatively short way away from this. Your horses are still tied up. You fed and watered them overnight, I would imagine. the lieutenant comes to you all and kind of thanks you in a very kind of official, professional way, and says, I know there may be nothing I can do, but personally, I consider myself to owe you a great debt as a Viara man, and a member of their military. Yes.
There is one favor, may I ask you, actually, which you might be able to help me with.
Of course.
In the interest of avoiding gossiping voices, I would like to cover this sword on my way back in. Could I borrow your tabard?
Perhaps one of... I have a certain appearance to maintain, but I'll gladly source a tabard for you from one of my men.
That will do perfectly. Discretion, of course.
He whistles at one of them, and they quickly kind of whip off their tabard and hand it to you to wrap in. Anton has laid hands on the soldier that was kind of gored in the thigh, and helped with that a little bit. Are we quite quickly saddling up? It's maybe mid-morning now. It's going to take a good few hours to get back to Indaros. Are we saddling up and moving on?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Just gonna float an idea.
Kill
before
everyone.
we set off. Yes, yeah. What if we? I'm not saying this is something I want to do, but while we're closer to there, is it worth investigating Viara?
The
as
town.
the town, as the place that possibly the Count may have gone to? Or is that for the house to figure out?
We have more than one master to serve in this, and my vote would be that we should make ourselves known to the city.
Okay. I'm not interested, really.
I'm not totally against it. I just think that it could mean we spend another day outside the walls, and I think a lot of people are going to want to talk to us when we get back.
How you said it was 2 hours walk, but how far a ride is Viara? You're on mute.
You know what? I think he'll have said 2 hours ride
Okay.
rather than, yeah. I'm going to retcon that because I think I probably underestimated how long it would take to get there. Let me have a quick look at the map.
It's another day before we get to see the inside of an inn.
I think, it may be worthwhile, but I think the best lead we have as we leave this place is the map of Indaros with these markings on it. And
yes.
that is what we should pursue first.
It would be great to know for sure.
I think that the town of Viara, the Viara state is approximately halfway between Indaros and Viara. So I think actually it's probably an equivalent ride, and I believe your ride here was 5 hours.
Right.
So assuming good roads, 5-hour ride. Sorry to interrupt.
That's fine. Yeah, that's a big detour for a speculation. Okay. Indaros then.
The guards are heading to Viara, though, aren't they? Because that's where the garrison is.
No, they're heading to their garrison is a separate building nearby.
Oh, okay.
Much closer than Viara itself.
In that case, I will recommend to the lieutenant that maybe someone should be dispatched to Viara to tell them not to randomly investigate the estate in case any pigeons have made it out that way.
He assures you that the forces of House Viara are all in coordination with all of this, and they were simply the first kind of tentative scouting party.
Right. Good. All right. Back to Indaros then.
Okay.
Yes.
So, as I say, it takes you about 5 hours along the sodden roads to make your way back towards Indaros, although it's obviously visible a long time before you reach it with the tall towers of the palace on the hill, especially apparent relatively quickly after you leave the Viara estate. 5 hours later, which is probably kind of mid-afternoon, you reach the gates. The gates are far more heavily guarded than when you left, probably double the amount of guards, and most of them appear to be those new temporary recruits. As you approach the gates, one of them, a portly fellow with an unshaved face and several unpleasant-looking boils, marches forward and holds his hand up imperiously and says, "What business have you got in the capital? Motley crew, by the look of you."
We are returning to speak to the Duchess Viara. Hang on. Countess Viara.
Sounds unlikely. Look at you. Dressed like common thieves, covered in mud. And you can't take those weapons in neither.
Did the Countess give us some kind of token or indication that we were working for her?
No, but you do have another.
Yes.
I'm not sure I want to wave it at this man quite yet. She gave us horses. Do the horses have House Viara livery on them?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. It's simplistic, but yes.
In that case, I will gesture to the House Viara work and say, "So, we come bearing terrible tidings from the Viara estate."
I don't know what a bird is meant to mean to me.
Right.
I mean, you could explain it to him, you know.
It's the sigil of House Viara.
Yeah, of course it is. I know that, but you could have stolen them.
Or five of them, and then ride them back into the city, sir.
He kind of looks behind him to his friends who are looking increasingly nervous about the notion of making a big deal out of this. All right, I'll let you off, but we need them weapons.
I was not aware we were not allowed to bring weapons into Indaros.
No groups with lots of weapons.
How recent is that decree?
Father Brigo declared it last night. Anton says, "Why is Father Brigo giving the city guard instructions? He has temporary reign over the security of the city. He's the second to the first father. Everyone knows that."
I'm still not following why the church has authority over the security of the city.
Are your ears clogged? The Queen put him in charge of the security of the city. Clearly, because it were the Cathedral of Martyrs that got leveled. Maybe she felt that the church would do a better job. I don't know, but he's paying my coin and he says no groups of armed vagabonds in the city.
I see. I wonder if you might consider this as an exception, though, sir. And I will show him the Sun Duchess's writ.
He kind of looks down at something quite fancy and official looking, and his brow just kind of wrinkles and he goes, "What's that?"
It is a writ from House Korinor giving us permission to carry our weapons into Indaros.
I don't know about that. One of the others behind him leans in and says, "That's the fucking Sun Duchess's seal, you prick. Let them in." All right. In you go. Go on. I'll let you off.
Thank you, sir. Your dedication to your job will be fondly remembered.
Remembered? He says as you ride past him, and you just hear one of the others behind him go, "Fucking idiot." You ride through the western streets of Indaros, and as you do so, we have these little updates, right, where you hear town criers shout things, and they seem to have moved on from their calls about the attack on the elves' legation. Instead, as you ride past one of them, an urchin-looking individual begging for coins as he bellows the news of the day. He shouts, "Mystics slain by the giants of Lindaros. 1 healer, 3 seers, 1 wizard. The City Watch refuses to intervene." You ride past him and further into the capital. And I think we'll leave the session there. That feels like a nice cutting off point. So there we go.
Can I ask, because I will forget before next time?
Okay.
Is the Giants of Lindaros a gang that I recognize?
No, the Giants of Lindaros are the giants.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know the giants?
I forgot about them.
That came from under the city, which is a place called Lindaros.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So there we go. Comments and questions in chat if you want us to address them. In the meantime, let me have a quick chat. I don't think there's anything for me to flag in the old feed. And the usual stuff. If you've got any interest in other things we do, then check the links below. There's all the things you might recognize, including our Patreon, which has recently had a revamp and offers a number of different things, polls and text actual play, watching, and all sorts of interesting stuff. Go have a look at it if you want to support us in any way, shape, or form. At the moment, we're running on a schedule of... We're aiming for most Mondays to be Call of Cthulhu. I know it's been a bit off and on at the moment, but that's the aim with it. It's a massive Nyarlathotep campaign. Wednesdays is, of course, Symbaroum. Yellow King is pseudo-monthly on Thursdays. I say that because there's no Yellow King this month. But it's when we can get to it. It's a lot of work. So it's when we can do it. We are doing a one-shot for the first time in quite a long time, actually. I think in, maybe nearly a year. This month, it's on Saturday, the 28th of June, where we will be playing. I've got it behind me. I do have it behind me. The Electric State, which is it the latest? I'm pretty sure it's the latest Free League game. Simon Stalenhag, sort of very minimalist tech post-apocalypse, thoughtful road trip thing, which is almost entirely unlike the film they've made of it on Netflix, which I haven't seen, but is by all accounts both shit and the world's worst adaptation in that it basically isn't. They basically looked at pictures of like big cartoon robots and went, okay, that's all we need. And then cast, Chris Pratt, and the rest is history. Unlike most history, it will be forgotten. Yeah, so we're playing that on Saturday the 28th of June anyway, so come join us for that. I think that's everything. John, do you want to start popping up the old comments and questions, please? Steve, would you rather fight one corrupted sow or 100 smaller ones? Tough, you get to fight both. Yeah.
I'm not sure about get to in this sentence.
Yeah. In case you wondered, the piglets were new. Like, I added the piglets. I think I can't remember if I mentioned that or not, but that was my effort to try and complicate the fight a little more. I mean, even then, it didn't do much, did it? But I guess one of you took a little bit of a spike to the side, but not from a piglet.
I was trying to work out in that fight whether I was more terrified of like the little tiny that
piglets.
came out of the piglets, whether there were more even tinier ones in there until it was just a sort
Oh,
of
for
great.
sure. Yeah,
And also
it
just
goes
like
down until like tardigrade size piglets are just writhing in.
just a sort of grey goo.
I think we all need to go bathe to make sure we don't have miniature piglets attached to us.
And in the game.
Yeah, it was not good.
No. Good. That's what I like to hear. Next.
I threatened to ban Steve for this comment, so
I loved it. Not hitting the pain threshold hits Matt's pleasure threshold. It's true. Although again, I feel I must emphasize again, it's not that I want to cause a TPK and I don't feel adversarial towards the party. I just want to engender the correct atmosphere for Symbaroum, which doesn't feel like it gets achieved if everything is just carved through with a single swipe. That's all. That's all.
I think
It's
that
been
fight would
a
have been-
record session for mental images I wanted to get rid of.
I think the fight would have been a lot harder if we hadn't literally had a walking nuke in our party.
Yeah, it's true. Most of the Elindra did more damage than Askrai this time around.
I think Antom is the one for abominations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Antom
That
did
is-
good.
It's definitely his moment to shine. Literally.
Nice. Next. Got one from Stephen. In hindsight, don't get gored probably isn't the surprisingly insightful advice Elindra thought it was. I don't know. Maybe a couple of soldiers were like, shit, that was
Getting gored is bad. This
was
is
the-
entirely
that was the
new
plan.
information.
That was the plan.
You know, those farmhands had never fought a giant corrupted pig before, so
I probably wrestled with a few normal
Cheers.
pigs, you know?
For us, that's just a Tuesday.
That's my understanding of farm life. It's wrestling pigs. Steve, Miltech Piglets new t-shirt idea. Yeah, and we had another similar comment from Sam, I think. No? Two
maybe
below that
somewhere.
one?
Oh.
It's two below that one. It's the classic nesting doll tactical Miltech Piglets. Yeah, it's a bit of a TTRPG cliche, but
Yeah. Trope as old as time.
yeah, you reel it out once a campaign or so just for the, that kind of nostalgia clap. But and tonight was the night, I suppose. Paging Dr. Cronenberg. We also had this from John. They're like very gross tribbles. Corrupted bacon. Yeah. One from Cola. Stripe equals Gremlin Mr. T. Yeah, I will accept this.
Can I have an extra
Similar
XP
haircut.
for not making
a what, Chris? You may have cut out there.
for not making a bacon joke at the end of the combat?
Yeah, you didn't. People in chat did.
Oh.
I was grateful.
I mean,
I was grateful.
you did make a bacon pun in the private chat, but
Yeah, he did. He did. So there we go. Got anything else, John?
Yes, there was something. Where is it?
Someone proposing an alternate. Yeah, 42 said the football team, the Giants. Yeah, not them either. Weirdly, right? The Giants of Lindros, weirdly, it's actually the Jets. People don't normally realize that. And there's another
That
joke.
was their original name, yeah.
Relatively few people. Well, relatively few people outside of the States, I guess. Yeah. Okay, there we go. There's Symbaroum for the week, folks. We hope you enjoyed it. Take care, stay safe. We should be back next Wednesday for more Symbaroum. And we'll also, obviously, I think Call of Cthulhu's on this Monday, right? Or at least
Yes.
Yeah.
16th?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And remember, Saturday, June 28th for the Electric State. And if you want to get involved live with the new text-based actual play we've got on the Discord. It'll be reeled out in chunks for people to have a read of anyway. But if you want to watch it live, then give us money. No, but do. Because that's an option over on Patreon. We're playing Death in Space. We've only just started, but already I think it's quite fun. And my natural British reserve does not allow me to give it any more superlatives than that. So there we go. Yeah. All right. Let's wrap it up. Take care. Stay safe, folks. We will see you next week. Goodbye. Goodbye.